Hey, sorry about that. I was just listening to some heavy metal, some Disturbed. Ah. Okay, speaking of Disturbed. Anyway, okay, for my first video, I wanted to share with you some of my thoughts about the Federal Reserve and fiat currencies and the economic crisis and how they're all tied together. Because if you think this is just one big mistake, well, that's your mistake. It's not a mistake. This is by design. I know what you're thinking. Conspiracy theory. I I used to think that too, but the more I look at these things, the less I see conspiracies. Matter of fact, I think the real conspiracy would be if something actually worked on this planet. If we actually had world peace, that would be a conspiracy. If we actually had, you know, no starving people, that would be a conspiracy. So anyway, this is just the reality here. But what's happening in the United States right now is affecting all of us. And I'm sure maybe you lost your job. Maybe you know somebody lost your job. Your home is falling in value. If you have a small business, it's probably tanking right now. And of course, nobody's there to bail you out, right? We know that. All the trillions of dollars are going to the bankers who are basically taking that money and buying small banks or just keeping the money in their bank account. Weren't they supposed to loan that back out to us? Yeah, right. But anyway, Geithner and Bernanke, they seem to be basically controlling everything at this point. Obama, he's going to go make sure can have some more wars to spend money on. So the bottom line is this: the real world is controlled by a small group of elite, part of which is the banking elite. And if you control the world's money, you control the world. That's pretty much what it is. It's all masters of the universe theory. But the bottom line is this: all countries have fiat currencies. The United States is no different. The only difference is we happen to be at this point in time the reserve currency for the total entire planet. So it's kind of important what happens to the dollar. You know, I put together a list of things that you can do in case of economic collapse. So we'll call them like 7 useful tips that you can do. Whether you live in the suburbs like I do, I live with my grandma, but that's a whole nother story. Or if you live in the country. So what I'd like to do is go over some of these things. They're real basic things. You've probably heard them other places, but I'd like to still get them out there to people. The first thing I would do, if you have any money left and you're not living in a tent city in Sacramento somewhere, which some of my best friends are. Number 1, consider taking out some of your digital currency and converting it to paper. And keep it around. Stuff it under the mattress. Put it in wherever you want to. I don't care. But the good part about that is you got cash on hand. If things go crazy and you wake up one morning and people are all running to the banks to take their money out, hey, at least you got some, money in hand. That you can go out and buy some stuff, some supplies, maybe an AK-15 or something, I don't know. But whatever you need. Toilet paper, that's a good thing. Get toilet paper, lots of it. People forget about toilet paper. You better get a lot of toilet paper. But anyway, that's in case there's bank runs or bank holidays. You want to have some cash in hand. I've got $50. That's all I got anyway. So, but if you can take out more, that would be better. Now take some of that paper currency and convert it to gold and silver. Now, gold and silver are really the only real money on the planet. All of our paper currency used to be backed by gold and silver, but the ruling elite bankers took care of that. The banksters. I'm gonna get them. Okay, so number 3, you also want to start building a reserve of food, water, supplies, medicine. 6 months supplies of all these things would be good. More is better. Whatever you can do, whatever you can afford to do it, people. Granted, this may not happen next month, this year or whatever, but start taking some precautions, because if it does happen, the last thing you want to be doing is standing in line at Walmart with the last can of, ketchup or something, trying to get out the door. So anyway, do it now. Number four, if you have an area in your yard or you live in an environment where you can grow a garden, do it. Or at least start learning how to do it. I live in the desert, so not much I can grow out there except cactuses. And they're not that great to eat. But that's why I'm storing food and water, so I don't have to worry about gardening initially. But if you can garden, I would suggest learning how to do it now. Number five, if you live in a major metropolitan area, make some plans with your neighbors. Things you can do in case of an emergency. Maybe some of your neighbors have areas of the state, some rural or country areas they have, or you do. Make some plans, in case of there's civil unrest. Maybe there's a false flag terrorist event. Terrorism. Whoa. A martial law, perhaps, because of these things, or even a natural event. But anyway, bottom line is get out there in your cul-de-sac, in your neighborhood, start talking to people. Start to learn their names in case there is an emergency. You're not walking around, hey, watch out, there's somebody going to shoot you, whatever your name is. I know, crazy. Number six, a firearm. Speaking of shooting, a firearm is a good thing to have. Me, I got my shotgun. Somebody comes to the door, try to get me and grandma, I take them out in a heartbeat. you know. Oh, but anyway, a firearm is a good idea because when people get hungry, they go crazy. Your neighbors could go crazy. People are gonna go crazy if they go crazy. That's what going crazy is all about. When people lose everything and they have nothing to lose, they lose it. That sounds like Gerald Celente. It is. Check out a video from Gerald Celente. He's got a kind of a outlook on that. And number seven, the most important thing is get your inner house. This house in order. So all these things going on. You gotta, organize things up in here. Things are gonna get stressful, even more so than it is now. It will be difficult for each of us, depending on your resources, awareness, and planning. But for millions and millions of people on the earth and in the United States and everywhere, as we go into this global depression, it's going to get tight. People are going to get hungry. They're going to get irritable. Some people won't have their homes anymore. So it's going to be a lot of stress, mentally, spiritually. You just got to go in and find that inner peace. You're going to have to be strong to make it through this. This is going to be a social revolution and a spiritual evolution. So find like-minded people and make plans that might be useful. Someone may have some land in one state, like I was saying. Another person might have some in another area. Get out there and meet everybody. I put a link in here over off to the side. It's about when Argentina collapsed, and for some of the very same reasons that we are facing possible financial collapse. So take a look at it. That guy is saying that sometimes it's better to live in a city, sometimes it's better to live in a country. I don't know. I prefer a very small island in the middle of the ocean. That's what I'm hoping for. But I don't have the budget for that right now. But who knows? Maybe my gold and silver investments will pay off when it goes into hyperinflator, and then I can go and sell that and buy myself an island. I'm going to talk about that later, though, in another video. Investing in gold and silver and why we should do it, and what that's all about, though. So join me later. Come back. I look forward to seeing you guys, and we'll talk to you later. Oh, I'm so crazy.